Welcome back, guys. It has been a long time. So where have I been? Nowhere. It's the end of February 2021. So like everyone else, I've been pretty much locked down, trying to get unfat in lockdown number 3. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. Since my last video, we went for a drive-in cinema at Christmas during that little section where they opened a few bits up. We went in the van, did a chili. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen a few posts on there. It was a real good night. I demolished half of the grotto going through the entrance, took a load of the envelopes, the messages to Santa with us on the roof rack. So that was quite cool. But apart from that, I've pretty much been isolated. So, like I said, it's the 1st of March tomorrow. So it's 6 weeks now, pretty much, until a few things open back up, i.e. campsites. And we are booked in 2 days after that release date at Mount Snowdon, a campsite at the base of Mount Snowdon. So, I've known this for a while. I knew it was coming, but I'm now going to finally commit. I'm pretty much ripping the whole van out. I'm pretty much ripping the whole van out and starting again. I know that sounds daunting, and it is daunting, and it sounds expensive because it is expensive. There's a lot of things that I would have done differently. Now, each one individually doesn't offend me too much, but as a collective whole, it's enough to make me want to just make it right. So I'm gonna make a quick cup of coffee and I'll talk you through it. So I'd probably say there's a couple of major things, not major mistakes necessarily, like I haven't done anything majorly wrong, but they're major in the way of rectifying them or changing them is going to be a major amount of work, and I'll go through what's what in a minute. And then there's a few minor things, things that are in the wrong place, things that are unnecessary, things that I would do different. And obviously, if I am going to do these major things, it would be stupid not to take care of the minor things at the same time. So here's the setup when all 3 seats are in. They look great, really comfortable, and they look amazing, in fact. But this 3rd seat, for me, has very rarely been used. Twice, potentially, for a couple of dog walks. Our eldest is way too cool to go camping. Not interested at all, finds the van actually quite embarrassing. So this has been a bit of a fail. But this 3rd seat pretty much governed everything else as part of the layout. So that meant my kitchen could only start from here, which meant I went that way with the kitchen, which forced the layout of the bed, which I'm not totally 100% happy with. And after using it for a year, doing burgers and sausages and stuff, you know, of an evening when you can't go outside and do barbecues and stuff like that, I found, although this is quite close to the door, I found I would have much preferred the very popular version of having our hobs here. So all the stinks and stuff just literally flow straight out, because we always have the awning out, so it doesn't hurt me to open this door up and have them stinks and smells go straight out, because I'm literally cooking here and I've got curtains there. You know, you could argue that that's even a fire hazard if we were really gonna pick bones. And there's carpet here, and when you're doing like sausages and bacon and stuff here, I hate that. So moving forward, I want my hob to be here, bringing this whole kitchen forward. But what that means logistically is I could remove this seat and say, right, don't need that 3rd seat, whatever. But I'll be left with this track in the floor. That's, you know, that's a bit of a game changer. The the kitchen would only probably come to here, and that would upset me forever. And I can't then go on in a few years time and sell a van, you know, upward of 50 grand say, with the track of an old layout in the floor. So that is going to get changed. While this gap underneath is quite good, you know, we can store some things in there, and we always store the table behind there, and his travel cot goes behind there. It's not a total waste of space. If I was to install a motorhome seat there, which is one of these frames with the upholstery that's got a big storage area, so it'll pretty much hopefully look the same as that. I'm going to get them reupholstered exactly the same, so they match the front seats and everything. So it'll still be a double seat there, but almost within a box. It means I can put the boiler in there. I really want the boiler up this end, because if I'm truthful, the boiler is over the wheel arch, and someone like myself, I don't like getting too hot. It makes me angry and frustrated. So when that boiler kicks on in the night, the noise doesn't, you know, you can't hear it or anything like that. But because there's so much heat being conducted through all of the pipes and the boiler itself, and obviously you're sat over a hot water tank, I cook in bed. I can't get the temperature correct enough. And this is a personal issue. This isn't necessarily information. I mean, you should regard this. I get so hot over that boiler, it's uncomfortable. I can't get the rest of the van warm enough before I start melting. So I want the boiler way away from my bed, because I would prefer a warm van but a cold bed. So when me and the wife sat down and we talked about what we want for the kitchen and things like that, we ended up going down the road of more of a domestic route rather than a camper van style. Personally, I would have this whole van looking like a Red Bull rider should have it, you know, coin grip on the floor, motorhome, everything, you know. But the wife likes it to be a home away from home, hence the wood, the real wood on the ceiling and things like that. So we ended up going for a domestic tap, I call it, because it belongs to a domestic setting in a house, a domestic sink and a domestic hob. I've already mentioned that I would prefer this to be over there. Already covered that, so that the smells and stinks can exhaust naturally. What I don't like about this is it rattles like hell. It is kind of a waste of space when it's doing nothing, as opposed to the motorhome styles when you've got the glass lids that cover it up when it's dormant. All of this, while you're driving, it just shakes my teeth. Honestly, you know, it's one thing to remember shutting cupboards and doors and things like that, but to remember to have to remove these or put a tea towel over them, things like that, that kind of does my head in a bit. This tap, while it's lovely, you know, it's got the spray function and things like that. What I have found that we can do by accident is once we can put this away, and totally by accident we can be moving something or shutting the curtains, and before you know it, bang, you've done that, and look out, you've made a right old mess. And that then was me doing it for probably less than a second. I've hit that tap on by accident before and found it running for 5-10 seconds, and it's just basically flooding the van. That's a nightmare. Kitchen sink, love it. Means you get to just chuck loads of dishes in there, put the lid on and kind of forget about it. Not so good when you're filling it up to soak everything. You just use so much water. I find myself using so much water. What I tend to do when we're on campsites is actually take a big pile of pots up to the pot washing station, or something like that, or fill a bucket up and actually do it outside, you know, if it's nice weather, that kind of thing. I think that the size of that sink is a bit excessive. I fill it up, soak everything, and before I know it, I've run out of water. I do hold more water than a sink full, of course, but that is a quick way to use too much water, I found. Most important part about all of this, and this is what I'm finding, is you got to build your van to how you want it. And you know what I've realised is, while I'm on holiday, out and about in the van, that kind of thing, we don't actually cook. I have cooked, of course I have. It's nice to have the grill there to do crumpets and bagels and toast and things of a morning, but you're on holiday. So while I was in France, I barbecued every single night outside in the lovely weather, and it was absolutely fantastic. Obviously we make cups of tea and things like that in the van. And then when I go away with the lads, or we go camping or whatever, we actually got a Just Eat to the campsite, or an Uber or whatever it was. So cooking isn't high up on, because we don't live in the van. That's what I've got to keep reminding myself. We don't live in the van. I've done all this storage and things like that. We don't live in the van. We holiday in the van. So you've got to build things to your needs. Microwave, you can go. We needed the microwave when Boy was young, because all of his bottles needed sterilising and things like that. That is a luxury that we do not use and we do not need. So as part of my new layout, that is going. So one of the minor issues is I put my water filler here because I thought it would be, you know, out the way, not be able to be vandalised, anything like that. But it can end up being a bit messy. You know, you got to make sure the hose is totally in there, then you go and turn the tap on, that kind of thing, and then when you pull it out, water goes everywhere. Can be a bit messy, so I would like to move that. Bullfinch shower at the same time, absolutely great. Same thing, it's on the inside, no one can touch it, no one knows it's there. But as we all probably know by now, when you disconnect your bullfinch shower from there, water streams out of it, the residual water. So that is another thing, not major, but if I'm moving the boiler and I'm moving the water, I want to address that. Here's my power bank. 3 105 amp hour batteries. They're going. I think that's overkill. One, they're 30 kilos each, but the second thing is I don't need anywhere near that amount of power. I haven't got an inverter. We don't use 240. We literally run a fridge and charge our phones and a couple of low voltage lights. So to have all of that power there would be stupid. So I think I'm going to opt for one 100 amp hour lithium battery, which is about 15 kilos. You can see a running theme here that there's a weight kind of reducing schedule going on. But yeah, one 100 amp hour battery. I've got a battery to battery charger off of the ignition, so worst case scenario I run that for an hour and it's charged up by 60 amps, that kind of thing. Got solar on the roof. I have got a charger, a smart charger, so if we are plugged into site, the fridge takes over 240 takes over the fridge supply, and it charges the batteries at the same time. So I think I've gone overkill on those batteries. So there it is. I don't mind pointing out my mistakes or my errors, hopefully so you guys don't do the same. But I wouldn't have known that I was doing things wrong until you do go out there and use it. Like I've said, I've never had a camper van before, never had a baby before either, to know what he needs and things like that. So yeah, remember to build your van for yourself, to your needs, try and work out what they are, and kind of go from there. So it breaks my heart, but we're just about to start stripping this van out. So join me on the next episode when hopefully you see a bit of progress. I'm going to do a video on the seat frame that goes in, because no one's done one of them yet, one of the motorhome seat frames. Yeah, stay tuned.